like we're gonna do some traveling in this world, but
For sure.
but it's not gonna be like we're gonna have a bunch of settlements all over. Actually, no. Yeah, that's right. We're like eventually we're gonna have like different little bases and outposts, right?
Yeah, we'll probably.
And eventually
that's what. At least that's like Reese's theory is that we're gonna want to have a lot of little like way stations and outposts and things, which I'm down for.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I'm
Especially
very much
if we
I'm
make
an enjoyer.
like quick travel ways, quicker ways to travel between them.
Yeah, well, I'm an enjoyer of multiple bases, and on the quick travel note, I think what eventually would be cool is to have an ice highway system.
Ice highway would be cool if we eventually get the get to the end and get like elytra and stuff. It would be cool to make like, I don't know, like just elytra nodes basically and a firework thing. So basically we just have like columns or even like Superman 64 rings to fly through with elytra. That would be cool.
Yeah, make sure you go through the rings, don't hit them.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be there'd be a lot of deaths related to us just smacking into a ring.
Yeah. Well, it'd be well if people ever visit our world and they run into the rings and not through them, we can just say skill issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want out of my quick travel, is to be a challenge.
You want it
that was I forget what, there was an old YouTube Minecraft series I used to watch on YouTube that they had that. They basically set up, it was on somebody's like big server. I think it was probably it was probably Hermitcraft.
Oh yeah.
And they had a whole thing. So obviously they had this giant hub world where everybody had built stuff, and so they had this massive city filled with all kinds of cool statues and things. And one guy set up a bunch of effective like banners basically and made a whole course and then just challenged everybody on the server to nice. Time trial his course. And so then every once in a while you would just get a video of somebody like just trying to beat the record, and they had like a record wall, and he like posted up a bunch of diamonds as a reward for the the fastest time or something, and it was cool. And it was like a lot of like really interesting and challenging like switchbacks and all kinds of stuff. Trying to fly through small gaps and.
Man, I love Hermitcraft. Like that sounds like an older season you were talking about.
I think it was literally the season that like right when they introduced the end expansion with all that.
So we're talking like
very old.
Very old. Okay.
I haven't watched a Minecraft series in years, but
okay. So Hermitcraft then was very different. Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, a lot of those guys. I haven't watched much of the older seasons, but there's been some changes. There's but some of the older guys, most of them are still around.
Yeah.
But they've had a lot of new people come in since then.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who, like I used to watch like the Bajan Canadian or whatever, and
he's not on Hermitcraft.
Yeah, he wasn't on Hermitcraft. He was on something else, but
okay.
I'm trying to think of like the. I can't think of. Now I can't even remember. Man, it's been so long. I used to love watching all those guys.
Yeah. No, I still watch a lot of Minecraft YouTube. I used to watch, I think one of the first series that really inspired me was iBallistic Squid and his Race to the Moon series. That was back in 2013.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very much like from like the older style of Minecraft content. Yeah. Nowadays, a lot of Minecraft content is like high paced, tight editing, funny moments, just high octane.
I think my first was Yogscast Shadow of Israfel.
Oh, okay, that's a series I have not watched.
Man, that was wild back in the day. And then I loved, and then they had their like Jaffa Factory or whatever series they did later on with a bunch of like industrial mods, like factory style, like Factorio style mods. And so they had like the Jaffa Factory and all kinds. I forget exactly what the series was called, but they had the whole series was just, hey, we're gonna build a giant factory, and that was the series. And it was on a server with some other people. So, like, what Shadow of Israel was like a narrative story. So it started out as just a basic survival, but then had a whole narrative to it. And it was very cool.
That sounds a lot like what we're doing, except maybe on a little bit of a smaller scale.
Yeah. This very much has Shadow of Israel vibes. Just because, we're just in a place and there's weird stuff, and that's very much how Shadow of Israel was they were, like, stuff would show up on their server when, they'd log back in and things would be different, or they'd, or they would be traveling and they'd stumble across something and it'd be just very different or out of place, and yeah, it was very fun. Very fun back in the day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and this whole series is, like, for me, personally, it's very much a kind of a homage to all of that stuff. How Minecraft YouTube started. Kind of back to its humble beginnings. Nowadays, like, I feel like Minecraft YouTubing is kind of taken for granted in a weird ways. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but like...
Well, it's like, just had to become very similar to other content. It used to be very niche.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's adapted to become more mainstream.
Yeah, that's the better way to put it. Yeah, it's more mainstream now. It has more mainstreamness. It's got, people know what they're doing when they're making content. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. Whereas at first it was just people doing what they wanted. And with me, like, YouTube is a hobby. I don't do it for a living. I don't think I want to do it for a living. It's very much just, I do this because I enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. And it is very fun. And I like the old school, classic Minecraft series vibes. I hope we are capturing with this series.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I hope people enjoy it. Those who do decide to stick around and stuff. Like, these are the kind of videos that I want to do. Of course, I might change things up a little bit. Like in future videos and series and stuff. Like maybe like a few more cuts, just for the sake of like keeping things going. But even then, like for videos like this, like when I have other people in a Discord call or something, like what we're doing right now, I have someone to bounce off of. So I don't feel like I need to make cuts. Not very many anyways. But when it's myself, like, I like to make cuts because because when I'm recording, it's the most speaking I do in an entire day.
Sure, yeah.
Like, I don't say a lot at work or anywhere, really. I'm just very quiet, and I've always been like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this makes me... The other thing was, like, just talking about, like, old school Minecraft videos. Like, I obviously was way into, like, Redstone videos. And I always had thought... Because Reese is so not into Redstone, but that had inspired me to, like, what I wanted to do was a Minecraft, like, tutorial series, kind of, like, for Redstone stuff, or command blocks, or otherwise. And I forget what we were going to call it, but it was literally just the whole premise of it was, we're going to make something today, and then Reese is also there, and he's like, and I'm going to help, and then he would flip a lever or something, and it would just all go to pot. It would explode, or just make a horrible mess.
I remember Reese telling me about this.
Yeah, and so the idea was that it would be me trying to explain Redstone stuff like talking to a 5-year-old, because Reese has no concept of how any of it works. So trying to like teach him how to do it as a premise for a YouTube video. And then, but I just thought it would be so funny to do like the same intro every time, and it's just like, hey, I'm Alec, and I'm Reese, and I'm gonna make and today we're gonna do X with Redstone. And he just goes, and I'll help, and he flips the lever, and then something bad happens, and that's the intro to every video, just like a canned thing. So like it's on a super flat world because it's just tutorial stuff. So, like, he flips a lever and all the ground in a 20 block radius disappears and we fall into the void. Or pigs start spawning pigs infinitely in recursive pig spawning and the server crashes. Or it summons an iron golem that just yeets us to the moon. Or explosions, just...
I love this concept.
Yeah, it was always something I thought was really funny, and I just... never had the like confidence in like editing or whatever to do, and now I feel like I'm a little behind the curve on what Minecraft, Redstone and command blocks and stuff looks like nowadays, just because I'm a little out of practice. I'm an old man now, so I don't know if I could do it anymore, but I always thought that was a fun premise and I wanted to do it at some point. I always thought that would be fun.
Yeah.
Because I like teaching people about stuff that I like, so I'm like, I really like Redstone, so for somebody who does not know anything about Redstone, for me to teach them would be really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they've added so many new mechanics, like apparently 1.21 has the crafter, so it's automatic crafting.
Oh yeah, I had seen something about that. That's really interesting, and it's like one of those things where I like... that is going to change so much about like what you do with Redstone now. Like it's definitely something I'm going to incorporate into our giant sorting machine if we ever build one on this server. Just because it's
the first
so many
have to
resources.
Update the server first.
Well, yeah, but like so many times you just you gather resources and you're only ever going to use them for crafting.
Right.
Or like certain things, so why not just have an auto crafter in line and it just becomes the thing.
Yeah.
Like I have the same thing, like I'm going to incorporate an auto smelter into it, because why would you throw iron ore in your storage? You never need raw iron ore, you only ever need iron ingots, so why not, when you dump it in the master chest, it gets fed through an auto smelter before going into storage. Just things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense,
Yeah. Things like that, so.
Things like that. Yeah. So eventually, once this series ends, I'm going to go back to my first world, and I had an auto smelter, and then I borked up my world, and I had to revert it a little bit, and I lost that auto smelter, so I'm going to have to reconstruct it. But yeah, that's something that I myself want to get more into, Redstone. Because that's not something that I'm familiar with.
Oh, yeah. Well, an auto smelter is... I have one in my bedroom right now upstairs. You have in the hovel. The hovel has an auto smelter already.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In my room, I guess, there's an auto smelter already. Because it's literally 3 hoppers, 3 chests, and an iron and a furnace.
Okay, so you've got something very simple. Yeah, that's...
Yeah,
like, I could
it's
do
like
that.
the most rudimentary of...
Yeah.
But it's literally like the first thing I strive for every time I start a world, because it's so convenient to be able to just fill a chest with things that need to be smelted and have them come out the other side.
I'm thinking like super smelter, like a whole smelting array. It has with mine carts and, just all kinds of stuff going on. Like, that just sounds super cool and convenient.
Yeah, I've seen those, like, the best ones I've seen of those incorporate, like, a kelp farm for fuel, because it's just one of the easiest ways to farm renewable fuel.
Okay.
Which, I've never built one. I've always done, just like charcoal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one of the more efficient fuel sources to be able to make, but...
I don't know if you've watched any of my First World videos, but I think, like, in the Battleship minigame one, I built that minigame in my, I guess, like, my basement, like, below my basement, and it's this huge area, this underground perimeter that I've dug out, and I want to turn that into, like, this, I don't know if I want to call it, like, a tech lair or something, but like, with all kinds of machines and stuff. Like, that's what I want to do. So I have, like, XP farms, I have, like, smelters, and I think I'm going to put my storage system down there as well, because it's going to get huge. Because there's so many blocks in the game now, you got to have, like a mega storage system.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you're a hoarder like us...
Yeah.
You need to have all the storage.
That's right. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of exploring and trial and error and learning.